ESPN just dropped their new 2025 NBA mock draft. It is by Jeremy Woo and Jonathan Cavoni, and we're going to react to it. Always cool to see the ESPN guys drop the mock draft because of how highly esteemed they are. They've been through this for how many years, just seeing their professional opinions on the NBA draft. If you've seen my videos before and you enjoyed them, I hope you guys consider subscribing. And if you haven't seen any of my videos before and this is the first one, I would like you to check out some of my other videos. And if you enjoy this video, also would like if you were able to subscribe. Starting off with the first overall pick, we're going to have the Washington Wizards take Cooper Flag. Now, I think if you say Cooper Flag was the best player in college basketball so far this season, you'd just be wrong. I think there are a couple guys you could throw ahead of him that are in contention with the first overall pick. Maybe Ace Bailey. He is really right there with Cooper Flag, in my opinion. They are the 1A and 1B prospects in this draft. I think you still go Cooper Flag, though. He has great size at that small forward slash power forward position. He's one of the best switchable defenders in this draft. He's able to guard big man. He's able to move his feet with guards as well. And he's also really aggressive on the offensive side of the basketball, where maybe his skill set doesn't 100% represent a Paolo Banchero, but he has that similar physicality where we're seeing Paolo Banchero succeed highly at this next level. I've seen comparisons with Jalen Johnson, which I also like. I think overall Cooper Flag's just his unique prospect. He is the best prospect in this draft class, but don't forget about Ace Bailey. Speaking of Ace, he's going to go number two to the Utah Jazz. Like I said, Cooper Flag's my 1A prospect. Ace Bailey's my 1B prospect, and that is just straight up. I know Dylan Harper's really good, same thing with Igor Devin, but they are my 3 and 4 prospects. These are the top two right here. Ace Bailey, first of all, his first 2 games at Rutgers, first 2 official games at Rutgers, have been so fun to watch. His shot making ability is absolutely insane. And I've said in other mock drafts, if Ace Bailey was able to declare for last year's drafts, he would have been the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, the year before that, you have Vic, so that's not happening. And if Cooper Flag wasn't in this year's draft class, Ace is the number 1 overall pick. He's one of the best prospects since, I guess I can't really say since a long period of time because there's Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flag. But I think Ace Bailey is going to be an elite NBA player at the next level. Shot making ability, defensive ability, having long arms, being able to go into the passing lanes. Also has some potential to be more of a guard, point forward at the next level as well. I'm really like what I'm seeing out of Ace Bailey. And right now, he's 100% the second overall pick. At 3, the Raptors are going to take Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. For me, I think Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey are kind of at that 3 spot, or not Ace Bailey, and Igor Devin are kind of at that 3 spot right now. Igor Devin has been one of the best players to watch so far this season. But Dylan Harper, he has great shot making ability. He's able to, like I said, create his own shot. Also, he does bring good combo guard ability as well. He's been a solid passer so far. I would still personally consider him as a combo guard rather than a lead guard, but his scoring ability can really not be underdetermined. For a team like the Raptors, I could see them add another guard to that rotation. You do have Emmanuel Quickly, who you believe should be your guard of the future because you just paid him all that money. But his size, his passing ability could be slightly limited. So getting a 6'6 guy who's bigger, also muscular as well, I think the Raptors would enjoy that a lot. Also would add another element to their team in terms of scoring because I think they're still searching for that true number 1 scoring option when they try to compete for a championship. I think that could be Dylan Harper. VJ Edgecombe goes forward to the Blazers. I'm not gonna lie, I really like VJ Edgecombe. I knew this year at Baylor he wasn't going to be a 20 plus point per game scorer. He was going to be an athletic 3 and D type of guy, and so far he's fulfilled that. But for the Portland Trailblazers specifically, when you already have a guy like Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, I don't know how much I love the fit of VJ Edgecombe. I would really like to see them add a guy like Igor Demon to come in, play right away as a point forward, rather than someone who's VJ Edgecombe, who plays downhill similar to Scoot and Shaden Sharp, kind of might just get lost in terms of spacing. Edgecombe is still a top 5 prospect for me, and I believe he should still go in this range. Just the Blazers specifically, not the team I'd love to see him go to. At 6, we're gonna have the Pistons take Nolan Traore out of France. Traore to start the season, not good at all. The jump shot is not falling. He's turning the ball over way too much, and even his defense is being a bit iffy, which is something I do not like to see out of him because he was supposed to be one of my favorite prospects. He is playing a pro league though, consider the rest of these guys all playing in college. You can't really put that against him in Nolan Traore. Anything, you could put that with his case to be a top pick in this draft class, but he's just starting off rough. I believe he'll still be there. He's probably not a top 5 prospect for me right now, just because of the emergence of Igor Demon. But I still have Nolan Traore top 10, or Traore top 10, maybe top 14 if I'm really not liking what I'm seeing out of him. But for right now, I still trust the 6'5" lead guard abilities from him. I'm not worried. He's starting off slow, but really, I'm not worried at all. Also, drafting him to the Pistons is very interesting. I just realized that. Obviously, I'd prefer Igor Demon here, but that's Cade, Ivy, and Nolan Traore in your backcourt for the future. I'm not so sure about that one. The Spurs take Continental here at pick number 6. I feel like this kind of has to be Igor Demon. Igor Demon has started off the season elite, and while right now the Spurs have Chris Paul and Stephon Castle to fulfill their guard abilities, I don't know if at his highest level Stephon Castle is going to be a lead guard for a championship team. Now, I love Stephon Castle. I love watching him at UConn. I'm a UConn fan, and so far in the NBA, I really like what I'm seeing out of him. But Igor Demon kind of has that next level playmaking ability where he can be the guy who brings up the court for you. Doesn't have to be your aggressor, but can still create his own jump shot. While Stephon Castle can be more of that combo guard the other team's best player, and really head downhill. I really like the eventual pairing of Castle and Igor Demon. Tom Knipple's cool, but really at 6, kind of a little bit too high. We really love Igor Demon here, but again, Knipple's alright. Speaking of Demon, though, he actually goes number 7. So, matter of fact, I love this 100%. Demon and Castle, backcourt of the future, would just be insane. Like, they fit each other so perfectly. One of them is a 6'9" point forward. The other one is one of the best, or is going to be one of the best defenders in the league, is one of the best downhill players at his age. I mean, it just all be perfect right there. And they both have great playmaking abilities. Demon, one of my favorite players to watch so far this year, if not my favorite player to watch so far this year. He could lead an offense. When I was watching him before he came to BYU, he was not really playing like the same player. He was playing off ball a lot more. He was sitting in the dunker spot sometimes. He was sitting in the short corner. He really was not making as many plays on the ball. But here at BYU, Kevin Young has really opened him up. I really like what I'm seeing out of Igor Demon so far. He's a top 5 prospect for me. The Pelicans take Common Malawach here at pick number 8 out of Duke. Now, they did just pick Eve Misi last year, so this is kind of a bit confusing because there's still pretty good value on the board, like maybe Liam McNeely or even a Trey Johnson, who we haven't even seen yet. Malawach is still good. I think, in my opinion, he's the better prospect of what Misi was last year. So if there's any reason to draft a better prospect, it makes sense to do it. If that means getting another center, even though he kind of plays like the exact same way that Misi plays, I guess you go ahead and do that, though. I wonder if they mentioned anything about Misi. They really don't. They just draft him to the Pelicans. Don't love the fit, but I do understand if he's a better prospect, there's no reason for you guys not to take him. Speaking of Trey Johnson, he's going to go 9 to the Brooklyn Nets. And wow, imagine if the Brooklyn Nets do not trade Cam Thomas and have a backcourt next year with Cam Thomas and Trey Johnson. That is a lot of shots going up. Trey Johnson has completely proved me wrong to start the season. Watching him in high school, even watching him through his first game against Ohio State, thought the shot diet was just going to hurt him so much. He did not look like a high consistency type of player, but so far this season, he's hitting all those tough shots that I just did not expect. Now, I still believe his percentages can go down a little bit. I still kind of see Jacoby Walter, obviously not in the same type of play style, but efficiency wise, if he really keeps this up, there's no ceiling for Trey Johnson. At 9 to the Nets, this is great value. The Hornets take Liam McNeely here at 10. I've said it a couple times. He's one of the highest floor players in this draft class. So far for UConn, he's looking very good. The Dan Hurley system is helping him a lot to show off his three-point making abilities. And he showed the ability to go downhill as well. Finish with both hands. I've watched every single game so far for Liam McNeely, and he's looked solid basically every single one of them. Also, a very solid defender. 10 to the Hornets just gives you another option whether he comes off the bench for the future, whether he is your starting shooting guard between LaMelo and Brandon Miller, or if he's just, like I said before, off the bench. Either works. He's just going to be a really nice role player at the next level. You can't go wrong with this pick. Where you can go wrong, though, is drafting Drake Powell at number 11 for the San Antonio Spurs. Powell has been one of my followers so far during the season. Yeah, he's just really not involving himself enough into this North Carolina offense. Now, can you 100% blame him for that? Really, no. Maybe you could say Hubert Davis, even though I trust Hubert Davis in his coaching. So if Drake Powell is really not going to be a positive offensive player, I'm going to blame that on him, not North Carolina's head coach. But yeah, just not asserting himself on the offensive side of the ball, not really getting in any of the actions. It's just tough to see. He does have a lot of great defensive abilities, though, and I think that's probably going to be his main calling card when it comes to the NBA draft. My favorite prospect in this year's draft, Tio Gonzalez, is here at pick number 12. I've said it so many times that I think he's the best all-around prospect in this draft class, and I'm with you at number 12. I think that's a great fit for him. He's great at going downhill. He's great at playmaking as well. He's about 6'5". I think he's more point. I don't really know if point wing is the best way to put it, but he can play the lead guard position somewhat. Also can play wing. He's a very versatile type of player, a great defender as well. I think 12 to the defender is good. I know a lot of people are a lot lower on Hugo Gonzalez, but trust me, if you watch the tape, you're really going to like him. Ben Saroff to the Atlanta Hawks at number 13. He is another lead guard, which is very interesting because you have Trey Young, because you have Kobe Buffkin, It's kind of tough to see his immediate fit here. Unless we're giving up on Kobe Buffkin. If we are giving up on Kobe Buffkin, then yes, Spencer Off makes a lot of sense to be your future backup point guard. Or if you even trade Trae Young, he could be your starting point guard of the future. But it's tough for me. Just I don't love the fit. I think there's a lot of better players you can go right here. I'd love to see them address the forward position to maybe find a forward off the bench that could help supply them for the future, or maybe even a starter next to Jalen Johnson. I'm not so sure. I like Ben Surratt as a prospect. He's a top 20 guy for me, but fit with the Hawks just doesn't make too much sense to me. The Rockets take Colin Murray Boyles here at 14. I kind of love this. Now, Colin Murray Boyles has not been able to hit the 3-point shot so far this season, which kind of hurts me because the reports I was hearing during the offseason is that he was going to add that to his repertoire. He's a 6'7" center right now. That doesn't 100% bode well in the NBA so much. But the way the game's changing, who knows? Maybe he's going to make a big impact. I really, really like his fit next to Alperen Sengun. Obviously, he won't be that team's long-term starter, but I think you can run lineups with Colin Murray Boyles and Sengun in the same front court. Or you can bring Colin Murray Boyles off the bench and be a really good change of pace guy from what Alperen Sengun is going to bring you as well. They're both great playmakers. Colin Murray Boyles definitely a bit more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. I really like the fit to 14 for the Houston Rockets. The 3-point shot, though, you just got to hope it's there. Carter Bryant goes to the Nets here at pick 15. This is interesting. He hasn't played too much to start the season. He's played okay amount, but really not too much. I don't know if I had him at 15. He's still a first round guy for me. He has good shot making ability. He's also very versatile on the defensive side of basketball and good size, about 6'8", 6'9", I believe. Just hasn't really shown enough for me to be a top 15 guy. Comes for Zach Jonas to the Indiana Pacers here at 16. I kind of love this to be that future or that team's future backup point guard behind obviously Tyrese Halliburton. Zach Jonas, I said it many times, he's one of my top guys in this draft class. He's shown his playmaking abilities a lot to start the season for Illinois, but he's not really shooting the ball too much, which is definitely interesting. He's not really asserting himself on the offensive side of the basketball. He was able to shot create before getting or arriving at Illinois, so I think that's still something we could see come along with this game as the season progresses. But for right now, just not 100% there, so that could definitely be down on some people. But if I have a future starting and backup point guard rotation of Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Jones, who can also play on the court at the same time together as well, because if you didn't know, Connell and Halliburton sometimes share the court. I kind of like this. Noah Essendey to the Brooklyn Nets at 17. Not gonna lie, I don't love what you did or what Jonathan Givony has done with the Brooklyn Nets so far in this draft. We gave them Carter Bryant at 15, a raw player who hasn't played a lot so far this season for Arizona. Then we gave them Noah Essendey out of Germany, who's also very raw. I think he's the youngest player coming out of his draft class. He has good defensive abilities, but even a guy like out of Georgia blanking on his name, Asanul, obviously, I think he'd be a lot better for the Nets here at 17, especially if we're considering guys like Damon Sharp or Nick Claxton expendable for the future. Monty Krivas out of Arizona is pick number 18. Yeah, Rocco Zakarski still on the floor or still on the board. Asanul still on the board. Those are two big men I would 100% take over Krivas. I kind of consider him more as a second round guy. Will Riley to the Atlanta Hawks at 19. Ooh, I kind of like this a lot. Will Riley's going to bring you great shooting right away. I know you didn't draft Zachary Sachet, who's kind of a similar build to Will Riley. He's a taller shooting guard. Yeah, Will Riley has been one of my favorite prospects to watch so far this season. He started off really hot recently, might have slowed down a little bit, but I think we've still seen enough flashes for him to be considered a top 20 pick in the draft. Sanu goes to the Thunder at pick number 20. Great value. Next to Chet Holmgren is insane for the future. Yeah, guy who could stretch the floor, as we know, at that power forward slash center position. And has really shown the ability so far this year for Georgia to also be a big impact in the post as well. I think he's trending to be a lottery type of guy in this draft class. 20 to the Thunder is kind of an absolute steal. 21, the Jazz take Darian Reed out of Alabama. I consider him more of a second year type of guy to enter the draft, but he does have a lot of potential at the small forward slash power forward position. He's going to be great at running the court. I think for the Jazz, what they're looking at for the future is to continue building on these higher caliber role player type of players to build right now. Now, they do have Bryce Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks for next year, so maybe that small forward position can get a bit crowded, but they're at least still fine. He's able to play stretch, I guess, as well. 21, we have the Thunder taking Michael Ruzic out of Spain. Ruzic right now is not a first round guy for me. He really just has to fill out his frame. And I guess when we're talking about the OKC Thunder, they love to take developmental guys. Michael Ruzic, a developmental guy. I mean, even this year, a developmental guy who's kind of come onto the scene for them has been Usman Jen. He's looked very good. He's been in that rotation. Ruzic, skinnier, for sure, definitely skinnier, doesn't have the same shot making abilities, and it's kind of tough to see what exact role he'll play at the NBA when it comes to the next level. I started to have him as a lottery guy in my way too early 2025 mock draft. Right now, he's out of the first round for me. Kenny Castle is 23 to the Memphis Grizzlies. He brings really good defensive versatility, and he's also going to be a guy who's able to stretch the floor. Him being 6'9", he's also going to have ability to score in the post as well. He's been really fun to watch so far at BYU, and I think 23 to the Grizzlies is a really good pick. Derek Queen has been a guy who's kind of worked in to my first round conversation, maybe even higher, just because of how good he's been so far at Maryland. Did not expect this. Expect him to be potentially a guy to stay more than 1 year at Maryland. But starting off with a 2020 game out of the gate, he's looked like a true pro. And it's been exciting to see what he's going to be able to do to continue the season to make a stop for his first round pick. Jalil Bethea goes 25 to the Orlando Magic. Bethea has been one of the more slower starting freshmen there has been so far this season. A lot of these freshmen have started off really hot, but Bethea, I believe he's averaging under 10 points per game, around 40% from the field. I still think he's going to be a top prospect in this year's draft. Just have to give him a bit more time. Donnie Freeman goes to the Nets at 26. Now, this was a pick I would have been cool with where you guys ended up taking no Essengay or Carter Bryant, because I think Donnie Freeman is that good. I also think he's a lot more positive prospect than both Carter Bryant and Noah Essengay. But if you're able to get him at 26, I think that's really good value. It is pretty interesting you guys decided to take three forwards, though. Alex Caravan to the Warriors here at 27. I love this fit so much. Alex Caravan has been one of the best players in the country so far this season. Efficient three-point shooting, being able to score in the paint as well. Also, one of the most underrated defenders we have in college basketball right now. He's the best cutter in college basketball as well. There's a lot of good things you can say about Alex Caravan, and especially in this Warrior system. If you're going to have a guy who's around 6'8", 6'9", play that powerful position to stretch the floor and give you elite defense, you're going to be very happy. Kalkbrenner here at 28. I talked about how he's been one of the best centers or players overall in college basketball so far this season. They have this um year looking at super senior. Is that what's like? I mean, is it really called super senior? Was it like grad transfer, graduate something? Whatever. But Kalkbrenner here at 28. He's had one of the best seasons so far in college basketball. You really can't argue about this. I mean, if you're gonna have one of the best players of college basketball and he's a first round pick, there's not too much you can say about it. Also, the Clippers are really looking to add another big man behind Ivica Zubac for the future. Edu Fierro has been absolutely elite to start the year for Arkansas. He's another guy who's jumped into the first round conversations for me. He's just being able to do it all over the court. He has one of the best motors in this draft class, and originally people thought he could have been potentially drafted this year for his defensive abilities, maybe a late second rounder. But as of recently, so far for Arkansas this season, he's improved a lot on his offensive game, and I really love Edu Fierro, and I think he's going to be a first round guy. Broncos of course, he goes 30 to the Boston Celtics. This team needs to add more center depth, however you want to put it. Al Horford is about to retire. Kristaps Porzingis, as much as I hate to say it, is injury prone. Then you have guys like Luke Kornet and Enes Keita, who are very solid, but maybe there's someone we can get at a higher level to be that team starting center, maybe after they move on from guys like Horford or Porzingis. Now, I guess this is the rest of their first round. We're going to have Ian Jackson, Dink Pate, Caleb Foster. Don't know Johan Grunlaw too much. Going to have to research more on him. Proctor, Boogie Flam, surprised. I kind of consider him a first round guy. Same thing with Alex Tui. Same thing with Joan Burringer. Also have to look at and watch his film. Kwame Evans Jr., KJ Lewis, Milan Momcilovic, Zvonimir Ivisic, Jerem Stevenson, Cam Jones, who just had a triple double against Purdue. Very big game from him. That could potentially put him into first round conversations. Hunter Salas, Sion James, or Keon James, Lakenji Bako, Kobe Johnson, Kobe Brea, and Sanford. And then the last two guys, Ben Humrichis and Muhammad Faye. Gonna have to search him up as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this mock draft. I thought it was pretty solid. I think the Nets picks weren't amazing, just something that was sticking out to my mind the most. I think Essengay and Carter Bryant are going to be good prospects, maybe potentially in the long run. But the Nets right now don't need very high raw prospects. They need guys that can come in, help them play, and help them go for the future. I think a guy like Donnie Freeman, who they got later, can help that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.